Beneath the sunshine and palm trees of Florida, a silent, creeping crisis is unfolding. Under the veneer of paradise, the ground is literally disappearing, and most people have no idea it's even happening. This isn't science fiction. It's a geological reality that threatens homes, livelihoods, and the very stability of America's most famous peninsula. On the quiet night of February 28, 2013, in the small town of Seffner, a family was jolted awake by a sound like a freight train. It wasn't a storm or a crash. When Jeremy Bush frantically searched for his 37-year-old brother, Jeff, he found only a gaping hole where Jeff's bedroom had been moments before. The ground had opened up and swallowed him whole. Rescue crews arrived to a scene of unimaginable horror, a 20-foot wide chasm that had opened in the earth without warning, consuming a man as he slept. His body was never recovered. This wasn't just a freak accident. It's a symptom of a bizarre geological phenomenon that is actively reshaping the entire state. So, what is causing Florida's ground to collapse? And could your backyard be next? The Sunshine State's dirty little secret. To understand the terrifying reality facing Florida, you have to look beneath the surface. Forget what you think you know about solid ground. The state of Florida is perched on a vast, living labyrinth. It's not built on granite or solid bedrock. Instead, much of the state rests on a porous, water-soluble foundation of limestone. Geologists call this a karst landscape. A better way to picture it is like a colossal piece of Swiss cheese, or a massive, brittle sponge. For thousands of years, this limestone has been slowly dissolving, creating a hidden world of caves, voids, and enormous underground rivers right beneath millions of people's feet. This intricate subsurface system is the source of Florida's world-famous crystal-clear springs and provides drinking water for most of its population through the massive Floridan aquifer. But herein lies the paradox. The very feature that gives Florida its life-giving water and stunning natural beauty is also its greatest, most unpredictable weakness. The ground is full of holes, and we're only just beginning to understand the scale of the problem. While these collapses seem sudden, they are the final, catastrophic result of a process that has been happening for millennia. Rainwater, made slightly acidic by carbon dioxide in the air and decaying plants in the soil, seeps downward. As this acidic water filters through the earth, it reaches the limestone bedrock and begins to dissolve it, like sugar in water. Over eons, this process carves out immense cavities deep underground. For a time, the clay and sand above this hidden void holds firm. But it's a ticking time bomb. The only thing supporting the surface is the pressure of the groundwater filling those cavities. When that support is removed, the result is a collapse. A history written in sinkholes. The tragic death of Jeff Bush was a horrifying wake-up call, but it was far from an isolated incident. Florida's history is written in sinkholes, each one a warning shot from the geology below. These events range from backyard nuisances to city-swallowing catastrophes. Perhaps the most infamous event happened in May of 1981 in the city of Winter Park. It started when a resident, May Rose Williams, was alerted by her barking dog to a small depression in her yard. Within hours, a giant sycamore tree vanished into the ground with a sickening plop sound. By the next day, the hole had grown into a monster. It devoured May Rose's 3-bedroom house, part of the municipal swimming pool, and 5 Porsches from a neighboring car dealership. Before it finally stabilized, the Winter Park sinkhole was a staggering 350 feet wide and 75 feet deep. It became a short-lived, ghoulish tourist attraction, with vendors selling Sinkhole 81 t-shirts to thousands of gawking spectators. Today, it's a placid body of water named Lake Rose, a picturesque scar hiding a violent past. But the threat isn't just a thing of the past. We seem to hear about it constantly. While experts debate whether the rate of sinkhole formation is truly increasing, population growth and land development mean more people are in harm's way. In recent years, news reports from across the state paint a disturbing picture. In September 2025, a busy road in Pasco County was shut down when a 25-foot wide depression opened up. In June 2024, a woman in Weeki Wachee was horrified to find a massive hole had appeared in her backyard after heavy rains, in an area scientists ominously call Sinkhole Alley. Just this past August, another sinkhole snarled traffic on a major highway in Live Oak. From small holes that swallow cars to massive chasms that consume homes, These events are a terrifying reminder of the state's instability. In 2017, a sinkhole in Land O'Lakes grew to 235 feet wide, swallowing 2 houses. And the Seffner sinkhole that took Jeff Bush's life? It has reopened multiple times since the initial tragedy, a grim reminder that even when filled, the ground is never truly stable. These aren't just cracks in the pavement. They are symptoms of a fundamental fragility. The science of the collapse. So what is actually triggering these collapses? And why do they seem to be getting worse? To understand that, we need to look at the invisible force at play: water. The entire state is underpinned by the Floridan aquifer system, one of the most productive aquifers in the world. It's a massive underground reservoir held within the porous limestone, supplying drinking water to millions of people. This aquifer is the lifeblood of the state, but our reliance on it is creating a dangerous feedback loop. The mechanics are frighteningly simple. For centuries, a delicate balance existed. The water within the aquifer's underground cavities exerted pressure, helping to hold up the sand and clay overburden above. But as Florida's population has exploded, so has its thirst for water. Massive amounts of groundwater are pumped out for agriculture, industry, and ever-expanding suburbs. This overpumping acts like letting the air out of a tire. As water levels in the aquifer drop, the buoyant support it provides is lost. The sand and clay that form the roof of these hidden voids are left unsupported, strained under their own weight. This is especially dangerous after a long drought when water levels are at their lowest. Then comes the trigger. A period of intense, heavy rainfall, a common occurrence in Florida, especially during hurricane season, adds immense weight to the already weakened soil. The water saturates the ground, and that extra pressure is the final straw. The roof gives way, and the surface collapses catastrophically into the void below. Human activity is pouring gasoline on a geological fire. Beyond just pumping water, the sheer weight of our buildings can put pressure on weak spots. The way we divert rainwater with roads and construction can concentrate it into areas that are more susceptible to collapse. In a chilling twist, we are actively contributing to the ground's disappearance. We are, in a very real sense, drinking and building the ground out from under our own feet. The fracture beneath the waves. As terrifying as sinkholes on land are, they are only one chapter of this story. A new and even more alarming discovery has scientists looking offshore, where a bigger mystery may be lurking. The same unstable karst geology that riddles the Florida peninsula doesn't just stop at the coastline. It extends for miles out under the Gulf of Mexico. And out there, in the deep, the ground is collapsing too. They are called blue holes, essentially, giant underwater sinkholes. For years, fishermen have known about these mysterious spots, oases of deep, dark blue water that attract an incredible amount of marine life. It's only recently that scientists have begun to explore them, and what they are finding is rewriting our understanding of Florida's geology. These aren't small pits. They are colossal, plunging chasms. One site, Amberjack Hole, located about 30 miles off Sarasota, begins 113 feet below the surface and plunges to a depth of over 230 feet. When researchers explored it, they found an oasis in an otherwise barren seafloor. But another, even more mysterious hole has captured scientists' attention, a site known as the Green Banana. Located about 50 miles from shore, its rim is 155 feet below the surface, and it plunges to an incredible depth of 425 feet. Scientists from NOAA and other institutions have launched expeditions to study this bizarre feature, deploying remote vehicles into its dark, hourglass-shaped throat. These holes are believed to be ancient sinkholes that formed thousands of years ago when sea levels were much lower. When the ice caps melted and the seas rose, they were simply flooded, their existence hidden beneath the waves. The shocking truth these expeditions are starting to uncover is a potential connection between these offshore collapses and the groundwater on the mainland. Scientists have found evidence suggesting that these deep-sea pits may be connected to the Floridan aquifer. This raises a fascinating and slightly frightening question that scientists are now scrambling to answer. Could a massive offshore collapse trigger something far worse? While some studies have pointed to a theoretical risk of tsunamis from underwater landslides in the wider region, the idea of a blue hole collapse causing one is highly speculative. It's a question that, until recently, no one even thought to ask. The human cost and the unseen future. The disappearing ground of Florida isn't just a geological curiosity. It's a slow-motion disaster with a profound human cost. For millions of residents, particularly those living in Sinkhole Alley, it creates a constant, low-level dread. Every crack in the wall becomes a source of anxiety. It's the horrifying knowledge that the earth beneath your feet, the one thing you take for granted as solid, might not be. The economic fallout is just as severe. Florida law requires home insurance policies to cover catastrophic ground cover collapse, but this has a very strict definition. The ground must abruptly collapse, leaving a visible depression, the building's foundation must be damaged, and the structure must be condemned. For less severe, but still destructive, sinkhole activity, you need separate, optional sinkhole insurance, which can be extremely expensive or hard to get in high-risk areas. Imagine your property value plummeting overnight because a hole opened up down the street. Even when a sinkhole is fixed, a process where grout and concrete are pumped into the earth, there is no guarantee it won't reopen. This brings us to the most critical question. Are these thousands of sinkholes isolated incidents, or are they the first tremors of a much larger, systemic failure? The state is facing a war on two fronts. From below, its limestone foundation is being eaten away, weakened by our insatiable thirst for water. And from the sides, the ocean is rising. Florida's geography makes it uniquely vulnerable. It has vast, heavily populated coastal regions sitting just a few feet above sea level. To make matters worse, new research has confirmed that in some coastal areas like Miami, the land itself is slowly sinking, a process called subsidence. This creates a devastating one-two punch of rising seas and falling land. Picture the state of Florida as that brittle sponge. Now, imagine it being hollowed out from the inside while simultaneously being submerged in water. This is the future Florida faces. The combination of more extreme weather, constant development, the draining of the aquifer, and the inexorable rise of the sea is creating a perfect storm for geological collapse on a scale we have never seen before. The story of Florida is the story of a paradise built on a precarious foundation. It's a state perched on a living, dissolving labyrinth of rock, a hidden world that is now making its presence known with terrifying force. The ground is disappearing, collapsing into voids created by water and time, and accelerated by our own actions. We are seeing the warning signs everywhere. In backyards, on highways, and in the newly discovered chasms on the ocean floor. There are no easy solutions. You cannot stop the rain from falling, and you cannot replace the state's entire geological foundation. The forces at play are immense, and the process is already in motion. We have built a dream on a foundation of sponge, and it is beginning to crumble. The question that haunts Florida is not if the next big collapse will happen, but when and where. What do you think is the biggest threat facing the Sunshine State? The unstable ground below, or the rising seas at its shores? Let us know in the comments. And if you're fascinated by the hidden forces shaping our world, make sure to subscribe and click the bell for more stories like this one.